The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayor's and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. Each week, we bring you comments and commentary from the mayors and supervisors around our community. This week, we'll be starting off with Jerry from the lovely town of Rush. Or is it more than lovely, Jerry? Tell us.
It's
please.
more than lovely, Chris. It is the best kept secret in Western New York. And it is especially lovely today because a lot of the trees and bushes have leafed out and the sun is shining. So it is very, very lovely. And I appreciate you recognizing that. I don't have a lot to share today. We obviously are looking forward to not having to wear our masks, although I don't know for sure at what stage that's at. I heard the CDC came out and said if you're vaccinated, you don't have to, but the last thing I want to be a part of is participating in an activity that could regenerate the COVID. I don't want it. I don't want anyone else to get it. So we're going to wait and see. And I noticed a little bit of laxness on some people wearing masks today, and that's okay until we hear scientific direction, which is what we tend to go on. The other things I wanted to mention was we managed to get through the reassessment situation, which tended to get a lot of our residents in a turmoil. And we've managed to explain to them that it's not so much the reassessment that's going to impact their checkbooks, but it is going to be the budget development and approval. And we've got people calming down, thank goodness, and willing to wait now to see what the budgets end up being and correlate that with the impact on their checkbooks. Well, I drew a blank. I participated in a tree planting this morning out on the campus of the town hall out behind. And that was a beautiful tree and it was beautiful weather. And I can't wait to see that thing leaf out because it's a nice tree. And I want to thank residents Marianne Rizzo and Janet and Jim Chase for digging the hole. I didn't have to dig, and that was comforting for me. That's about all I've got to share today, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Todd, how about West Bloomfield? What have you got cooking there?
Thanks, Chris. From a town perspective, this week we finally have completed the purchase of an additional 16 acres adjacent to the new community town hall and adjacent to Prouty Park. We made the acquisition with the intent of using that as one of the bases for our upcoming comprehensive plan review as we try to determine what the kind of potential center of West Bloomfield ought to look like. And so whether it ends up being an additional location for the highway department, potential transfer station, potential town court, things like that. It's a good acquisition for us. We had a nice agreement with the current property owner, and we look forward to working that into our plans over the next, 5 to 10 years. We do not have any immediate plans for it at this point in time. In regards to any further guidance that is received from the CDC on our crisis team call this morning, which is really the Bloomfield School District and the associated supervisors and mayor, someone used the analogy of the waterfall. So the CDC makes recommendations, the state makes recommendations, county health makes recommendations. So as everybody waits for that guidance to come down to the local level. Just encourage people to continue to be safe. From my perspective, if you go today to get vaccinated, remember, if it's the single shot, it's still 2 weeks before you're considered fully vaccinated, and most of the guidance is for fully vaccinated people. If you've got your first shot, you still end up waiting 2 weeks to get your second shot, and then another 2 weeks after that. So make sure you're keeping those things in mind when you're thinking about what outdoor events or what things you might be doing, and what the guidance is of whether you need to or do not need to wear a mask. Make sure that you're keeping those things in consideration of what you're doing as an individual and what you can do to help protect everyone else within your community. I do want to thank all the folks that have been contributing and sending me letters, et cetera, in regards to looking for providing some assistance to our planning and zoning board and the comprehensive plan. But a lot of folks that have submitted offers of interest, et cetera, and the town board is in the process of going through that. We'll be reaching out to those residents in the near future. We will also be updating the roof on the park pavilion and getting a new sign for Michael Prouty Memorial Park that was donated by his father, Skip. And also on that sign, we'll be then putting up the signage for the new community town hall. Looking forward to having everything be open so that we can actually have an open house in our new town hall that we've been in for almost a year without really being able to have a big open house and welcome the public in, just based on the number of folks that would be in the building, et cetera. And we want to make sure that we can do that and do it safely. So we look forward to having that in the relatively near future, and hopefully over the summer. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Todd. Mike, the town of Lima, how are we doing there?
Well, Chris, there is a rumor of flooring arriving at a warehouse somewhere, but we've still not seen it yet to come and finish off the elevator area. So somewhere soon, hopefully. Livingston County did send out the mortgage tax receipts for the period of October to March. For the town of Lima, we are ahead about 50% over expected with a draw of a little bit over $45,000. So everybody keep refinancing your houses and selling them and buying them, et cetera. Every little bit helps. The Livingston County Board of Supervisors at the meeting this past week on May 12th adopted the New York State Youth Deer Hunting Pilot Program. This allows youth ages 12 and 13 to hunt deer with a firearm or a crossbow when accompanied by a person 21 years or older who has at least 3 years of hunting experience. The average age of our hunters is well over 60 years old right now. And so one of the reasons for this program is to get youth interested in hunting so that the deer are filling our freezers rather than filling the grills of our cars. There is an autism nature trail being established at Letchworth State Park. This is a 100% ADA compliant, judgment-free zone for all to appreciate the natural world safely. You can learn more at autismnaturetrail.com. This is being done largely through donations. Livingston County just donated a bunch of the large wooden yard style swings to sprinkle along the trail. If you would like to help, they do have a GoFundMe page and all of the associated stuff. Again, it's autismnaturetrail.com. There has been some concern within the community regarding CRT at HFL. If you do not understand the issue, it is definitely time to read up on it. One good explanation can be found in the March 2021 issue of Imprimis, which looks like this. You can find that on the hillsdale.edu website. The author is Christopher Rufo, and you may be familiar with him. He's, by having seen his documentaries on PBS, which do include America Lost. That's all I've got, Chris.
All right, Mike, thanks. Eileen, Scottsville. Are we scooting along in Scottsville? Oh, every week I come up with a new one.
It's so true, so true. Yeah, I'll skip right to that since you introduced it. We had a speed monitor on North Road for a few days, and they sent me the paperwork with the results, and gee, it was confirmed what we already knew. There is speeding along North Road and the other perimeter roads in the village. So my understanding is they're going to be assigning some patrols, especially at rush hour times, to see if we can put a halt to all this. We had speeds over 60 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. So something that we definitely want to curb and see if we can get a handle on. As for other things in the village, our board meeting was held this past Tuesday, May 11th, and we set a public hearing for local law 4-2021 to amend section 162.13B1, article 3 on stopping, standing, and parking on Beckwith Avenue. And the issue is there's a loop in front of the school that comes off Beckwith Avenue and then exits further up on Beckwith Avenue. They've been parking very close to the exit and obstructing the view. So we are putting a local law in for no parking from the west side of that east driveway of 30 feet from the exit. And then we are also, while we were at it, we'll stripe the sections of the fire hydrants because there's no parking 15 feet on either side of those. So in the area by the driveway, that's going to be a total of about 60 feet. That will be clear, and so the view is not obstructed anymore. The DPW will be placing a sign in the no parking area, and will be striping the areas, especially the fire hydrants. The municipal building is now open to foot traffic. So an appointment is not necessary and you can walk right in, the doors are open. As a lot of people have been saying, the CDC has put out a little chart on the safety of vaccinated people and non-vaccinated people. I think the concern right now is we don't know who's who. So we just ask everybody to be very careful and follow protocols, even if you are vaccinated. If you're in a large group or anything like that, it might be wise just to wear a mask to keep everybody safe. But things are opening up. We're happy about that. And our next board meeting will be open to the public starting in June. So we're happy about that. And we hope we get some people coming down to the board meeting next month. We will continue as we get more information from, like has been said, we get information from the CDC, it comes to the state level, to the county level, and then down to the local level. So we'll be watching very carefully to see which protocols we should really keep in place for having open meetings. Let's see. The news is the Pfizer vaccine has been okayed for 12 to 15-year-olds. So anybody over 12 years old can receive that. I know when I listened in on the Monroe County phone call this past Tuesday, they were waiting for some more guidelines from the state on this, but I believe it's all been okayed. I just checked the Monroe County website. So the Pfizer vaccine is the only one that's okay for 12 to 17-year-olds right now. But remember, you don't need an appointment to walk in, but appointments are recommended. It kind of guarantees you a spot and not as much of a wait. The only other thing I want to mention today is people that have concerns and complaints that they want to send into the village. We appreciate it and we want to handle them as quickly as possible. Sometimes it's difficult to answer a complaint where we don't have a signature. We don't know who sent it in. And I understand the need for confidentiality, and that's what we will do. We do not mention who put complaints in, but if we're going to answer you, we need your contact information, especially when we get a complaint that really has no validity because it's been taken care of. And we can't explain that it's all been taken care of if we don't have your contact info. So it looks like we've done nothing. So please sign your complaints. We are not going to tell anybody who sent it in, but then we can contact you and let you know how we resolved it. And that's all for me right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Eileen. John in the town of Mendon. What are we doing there?
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me as always. Just wanted to mention that, as the weather is finally started to break here, I've seen a few people out walking and engaged in a few conversations, and two different people mentioned that how much they appreciate this forum, both the video as well as the newspaper, as far as hearing not only what's going on in our town, but hearing what's going on in our neighboring towns as well. So compliments to you and the Sentinel on that one. Unfortunately, the Mendon Fire Department did postpone the Mendon Carnival, the best 3 days in Mendon this year. So hopefully the best 3 days in Mendon will take place maybe a little later in the year, possibly, but we'll just have to stay tuned and see what the fire department has to say about that. Memorial Day is on. There's a parade in the hamlet of Mendon at 9:30 on May 31st, which is Memorial Day. And then there'll be one later on in the village of Honeoye Falls. I believe it's 11 or 11:15, Rick, if I'm not mistaken. And one in Mendon starts out what I call the Old Grange and 251 and goes up to the Four Corners up south on 64 to the cemetery. We're going to probably move the ceremony a little bit there to a more open space where we've held it traditionally is a little closed in by trees. And so we're going to open that up to a little more open space where people can stay apart. And we look forward to people, if they feel comfortable being at the parade and at the ceremony to honor our veterans who have passed. Our community center is back open for use for the public. So if you have any events that you want to be held in the community, the person who rents it does have to be a resident of the town of Mendon, but the community center is available. That was closed due to COVID for an extended period of time. And we're still working on I mentioned this last week, we're working on a recycle event, hopefully coming up in the next few weeks. I'll have some more details as we progress through that. And thanks for having me.
All right, John, thank you. Rick, how are we doing in Honeoye Falls?
Hey, Chris and everyone, it's great to see you. Thank you for having me as well. We're doing good in Honeoye Falls. Few things I do want to mention, and as always, with this great forum, so many of our announcements and whatever kind of tie into everyone else's. So this is great. First, I wanted to mention that this coming week, the week that we're beginning now, this is National EMS Week. So please take a moment to reach out to all your EMS providers throughout the area and give them a thanks. They put a lot on the line for us, and we really appreciate all of our ambulance and fire EMS personnel, as well as our law enforcement who also provide EMS. So thank you to all of them. We are nearing the end of our fiscal year. This is always an interesting time for us. We get to see where what lines we're short on, what lines we're doing well in, and then we start combining things to rob from Peter to pay Paul, as they say, to get through the year. So we're looking forward to that, though. We have a lot of things, a lot of projects we're working on, and we want to make sure that we're able to move forward with the necessary projects. Our parks have been very, very active. getting a lot of use. The Honeoye Falls Mendon Youth softball program, girls softball program is in full swing and playing up at the Monroe Street Park almost daily, it seems like. A lot of people using the skate park, which continues to get enhanced. And, we really appreciate the people using the skate park and trying to keep the skateboards off our gazebo and a couple of other areas. That's what the skate park is for, and that's been great. Our DPW has been extremely busy, of course, for all of our communities. Once that nice weather hits and we've had the rain we've had, the grass just grows awful fast and it's very hard to keep up with, but they're doing a fantastic job. Our crosswalk areas, our middle of the road signage really should be up. We will get those signs up very quickly. But one thing I wanted to mention, we had a really nice signal, crosswalk signal up at the West Main Pine Trail area up by Honeoye Falls Marketplace. And the light source was starting to have some issues, and the DOT came up with a new plan to put in a new system, which we're very excited about. Unfortunately, and this is kind of like a broken record, but with COVID and the pandemic, we all know that, in fact, Mike Falk had just mentioned it about the flooring. The parts are on the way. Where they're at, we don't know. We were hoping to have this rectified, by the end of April, early May, and now it looks like parts and work might not get done until July. So we're going to make sure the middle of the road signage is up, but to all of those listening, and just pass it along. We just need people to slow down in the village, slow down throughout the community, but slow down in the village, look for people crossing. People are in really pretty relatively clearly marked crosswalks. You got to let them pass. Just be on the lookout. And along with that, and I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago as well, we have contacted the state police and the Monroe County Sheriff's asking for the traffic monitoring signs to come back out and to have our law enforcement monitoring this as close as they can. But it's a challenge. But please, people, just slow down a little bit. And then also to echo Supervisor Moffitt's comment, we're really looking forward to some of our open events, especially the Memorial Day parades. Honeoye Falls is around 11 o'clock to 11:15 start, and North Bloomfield is also on. So, our local veterans will be supporting all of those parades, and we really look forward to that. And we also look forward to our Tuesday night concert series starting in just a couple weeks on June 8th. So it's all full steam ahead. Last thing I want to mention, I'm sorry, one more thing. Our May and June village board meetings are actually both going to be held at the Mendon Community Center. And Supervisor Moffitt, thank you to you and your team as well. And the reason for that is we have a public hearing tomorrow night, Monday the 17th. We'll be discussing a change to our firearms laws to potentially allow bow hunting and archery within village limits on certain pieces of property. So there's going to be a lot to discuss with that, but deer continue to be a real big issue, as I just have about $10,000 worth of damage to my car just this week. And then in June, we're going to have another large presentation by a couple of professors from RIT that want to talk to us about, again, green technology and geotechnology, et cetera. So we're going to have a couple nice public hearings, and we expect those meetings to be, again, at the Mendon Community Center. And with that, I'll pass it off. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Does anybody have anything that they forgot to say that they want to add before we close up shop today?
Jerry will add.
Okay.
And I'm being provoked by Mayor Hanson and Mayor Milne. This has to do with the speed trailer. I asked for a speed trailer to be installed in front of the town hall 2 weeks ago. And I did that because it seemed to me like cars were going fast by here. Now, if any of you know where the Rush Town Hall is, can you believe that the speed trailer recorded speeds over 70 miles an hour in front of the Rush Town Hall? And that's very concerning to me. I hope people
Going which
will,
way? Towards the red light or away from the red light?
away from the red light to the south, headed for Honeoye Falls.
Yeah, the creek.
But that's very concerning because at 71 miles an hour, you can't really stop for a dog or a cat or a kid or whatever. And we're very concerned about that. I also want to mention, as long as I've got the microphone, there is a proposal that we've received from developers for developing the Brooks, the former Foster Brooks property on the north side of Rush. That will involve many houses, smaller houses. And we've also received a proposal from a developer who wants to develop the land on the west side of exit 11 along Route 15. That will be more of a commercial, limited industrial development. Your town board meetings with that on the agenda. And if anybody has any suggestions or wants, please let us know. Thank you, Chris, for letting me speak.
Thank you, Jerry, for speaking. All right, anybody else got anything? Seeing none, thank you all. Thank you for watching and listening. We're here every Sunday at 1 o'clock on either Facebook or YouTube, or catch us in the paper. We'll have the complete transcript. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.